Your brakes are one of the most important safety features on your car, so keeping them in good shape is a top priority. One common issue with brakes is a fluid leak, and it can happen in spots like the master cylinder, brake lines, or calipers. If you notice a puddle under your car, that's a pretty good clue you've got a leak. But leaks aren't always that obvious. There are other signs to watch for too. The key is catching and fixing the problem fast, because driving with low brake fluid can cause your brakes to fail, and no one wants that. I'll walk you through 5 common symptoms of a brake fluid leak to help you figure out what's going on. But just before we start, please ensure you've subscribed to the channel. Brake warning light on. This little guy on your dashboard is usually the first thing to signal a brake problem. It's hard to miss, and often your car's way of saying, hey, something's not quite right. Now, it doesn't always mean you've got a fluid leak, but many brake issues trace back to low fluid levels. Think of it as your early warning to pop the hood and check things out. Catching it early can save you a lot of trouble down the road. Squishy brake pedal. When you press the brake pedal, it should feel firm and ready to engage the brakes. If it's soft, mushy, or spongy, that's often due to air trapped in the brake lines, which happens when fluid is low because of a leak. With less fluid in the system, air sneaks in, and that can spell trouble if you're ever in a situation where you need to stop quickly. Poor stopping performance. If your car's not braking as well as it should, there could be several reasons. Worn brake pads, rotors, or calipers are common culprits, but don't rule out a fluid leak. If something feels off, pop the hood and check the brake fluid reservoir. If it's not full, there's likely a leak somewhere that needs attention. Brake fluid puddles. If you see a small puddle or some drips near your wheels, chances are it's leaking brake fluid. Now, fluid leaks can get tricky because it might also be transmission fluid or motor oil, but brake fluid has some telltale signs. When new, it's light yellow or clear and gets darker with age. It's super slippery, slicker than oil, and has a strong, fishy odor. If you spot something like that, check your brake fluid reservoir. If it's not full, you've probably got a leak. Whether it's the master cylinder or the brake lines causing the issue, it's time to fix it before it gets worse. Brake pedal sinking. This is a big red flag and often happens alongside a squishy or soft brake pedal. If there's a major brake fluid leak or an issue with the brake master cylinder, you'll notice something called brake pedal sink. It feels like the pedal goes all the way down without much resistance because there's just not enough fluid in the system to make the brakes work. If this happens before driving, don't even think about hitting the road, it's just too dangerous. And if it happens while you're driving, quickly downshift gears or use the emergency brake slowly and carefully to bring your car to a stop. Pull over and don't drive again until the problem's fixed. How to diagnose a brake fluid leak. Brake master cylinder leak. If you suspect a brake fluid leak, the brake master cylinder is a good place to start. It's one of the easiest spots to check. All you need to do is take a quick look around the brake master cylinder area. If you see fluid on the outside, that's a clear sign of a leak. Spotting it early can save you from bigger brake problems down the road, so it's worth the effort. Brake line leak. If you think there's a leak, start with a quick visual check underneath your car. Look for any brake fluid on the ground. It's your first clue to pinpoint where the problem might be. If you spot fluid, the next step is to keep it from spreading. Laying down some newspaper can help, but if you've got a garage floor mat, that's even better. It's perfect for catching leaks of any kind. To zero in on the exact location of the leak, hop in the car and pump the brake pedal. This forces out any remaining brake fluid, making it easier to see where it's coming from. Once you've identified the spot, you can decide whether to repair or replace the brake line. Brake caliper leak. Start by removing each tire to get a clear look at the caliper for any signs of leaking fluid. If your car has rear drum brakes instead, you'll need to go a step further. Take off the brake drum to inspect the drum cylinder inside. This visual inspection should help you spot any fluid escaping from these components. If you see a leak, it's time to either repair or replace the part before it turns into a bigger issue.